Welcome back to the gospel. Today is your fantasy football show. I hope you guys are ready. We're going to make sure that you are in the know with everything that's going on. We're also going to give you a little bit of waiver wire advice, and then we'll have a segment of what would you do, as well as one of our fan favorites, Rapid Fire 10, helping you get ready with your start or sit questions for the week. I am your Jose, the fantasy football fiend, and I got my guy, Young Vander, the fantasy Nostradamus. Hi there, the people, Young Vander.
What's going on out there?
Hey, let's go ahead and hop right into the news. Starting out with your quarterbacks. I hope that you weren't planning on using Skylar Thompson or Huntley, but Skylar Thompson is limited in practice. It looks like Huntley's going to go this week. I don't know unless you're in a 2 QB league. I wouldn't even use them in a super flex, but in a 2 QB league where you got to put them out there due to injury or circumstance, Huntley is going up against the Patriots defense, and the one thing that the Patriots do tend to get right is defense. So that's one thing that you're going to want to have to prepare yourself for. Aaron Rodgers limited in practice, having a knee issue, but he's out there, so that tells me that there's nothing too serious. Josh Allen, no limitations in practice. He was dealing with a back issue, but he was a full participant. Anthony Richardson, man, it seems like every year, and I say every year because this happened quite a bit in college as well, but there's always something that kind of goes awry with this guy as far as injury is concerned. He was a limited practice on Wednesday, dealing with an oblique strain, and also he had that hip injury that was going on that got Flacco in the game on this past week. What are your thoughts on Anthony Richardson? Is this a guy that if you have, you're maybe trying to sell him, or you just want to get Flacco just in case? And 9 times out of 10, Flacco will come in and put up somewhere close to the same points based on what he's getting now. How are you feeling about Richardson the rest of the season?
Well, I think if you're a Richardson owner, you should have known. Flacco is and usually at the running back position we have handcuffs. These guys that you get, they're boom players, but they have a injury history. Like a McCaffrey. Mason is a guy that you just want to have just in case. And as far as quarterbacks, every now and again, we see handcuffs. This is one of those instances where if you was a go at Richardson, if you didn't have another guy, maybe another starter of another team ready, it was good to have Flacco readily available as well. Richardson is a boom. I don't want to say boom or bust, but it's really like a boom, and I would compare him something to like one of these a Bugatti or one of these higher end cars where it's not built to last for a long time. You're not going to have a Bentley with 200,000 miles on it, right? But it's a Bentley. It's a nice car. But a Toyota Camry, a Honda Accord, you may have 200,000-300,000 miles on it, right? So that's the kind of car that Richardson is. A nice car, but it wasn't made to last forever. So while you have it, you're going to enjoy it. You're going to get all the attention, but don't look to have it 10 years from now. Driving it every day. It's not a daily driver.
Right.
It's a weekend car. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of what Richardson is. But definitely, I think Flacco is someone that you want to have in the tuck if you're not able to have another starter of another team.
Makes sense. Moving on over to running back, Zamir White. He was limited in practice on Wednesday, dealing with a groin injury. Not exactly sure how that's going to affect him going forward, but groin injuries can be a little tricky. I don't think he can do much worse than he has done so far this year. So, I mean, he's a guy that I would attempt to be moving on from if there are any other options out there in general. But he is dealing with the groin injury. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is on his way back. He's returning to practice this week. He should be available for games soon. So he may not be available this coming week, but he should be available soon. Do you think that that's going to affect the current platoon that Kansas City is employing right now as far as running backs are concerned, or he'll just kind of be another guy that's available if someone else goes down?
I mean, I think you said with the second option. I think this is now Kareem Hunt's backfield. To further notice, I don't think CH is threatening. He'll come in and give a breather, say make it a 2-3 touches, something of that nature. Like we just seen Steele do. I think he got like 3 or 4 carries last weekend. So he probably come in and do something like that. But as far as a fantasy implications or relevancy, no, he won't be fantasy relevant at all. I think this is Kareem Hunt's backfield, and sprinkle in some P Ryan, maybe if you're in a PPR league or something like that.
Raheem Mostert is limited in practice, still dealing with the chest injury. His counterpart, Jeff Wilson, is also limited in practice, dealing with a knee injury. This Miami team is kind of all over the place right now, dealing with injuries and situations. If you can avoid the team, I probably would. Devon Achane is the one kind of bright spot, if you will, but I don't know how much longer he's going to be able to shine when he's really the only person that you have to pay attention to, because the wide receivers are kind of taken out based on quarterback play. Hopefully, somebody will kind of step up and get a little bit better now that they're getting all the reps. We'll see how that goes. Tank Bigsby, limited due to a shoulder injury, but he was in practice on Wednesday. Brian Robinson Jr., this is a guy that was kind of a value in the draft. He set out with a knee injury. So his counterpart, Austin Eckler, is on his way back after dealing with a concussion. Brian Robinson Jr. is sitting out with a knee injury. Don't know exactly what that means for this coming Sunday, but as of Wednesday, he wasn't in practice at all, not even in a limited capacity. What is your level of comfortability with Austin Eckler if Robinson is to sit out, or if Robinson is to go into the game this week not being 100% healthy and kind of having to split the load?
I think this is just like a vet rest type of deal. You know what I'm saying? I don't think this Brian Robinson injury is anything serious. I mean, I don't think he didn't leave last week's game as far as injury, right? It's just something that just popped up. So how many guys have sat today? I mean, Mixon sat today, which he's possible to play this week as well. It's Wednesday. So Wednesday is just one of those vet days. I would check back in on a Thursday practice and see if he's at least limited by a Friday practice. But I think Robinson is fine. As far as Eckler go, I think you should play him the way you seen Eckler the first 2-3 weeks is the way you should see Eckler this week. He'll sprinkle in here and there and get some love, but that's about it.
Is this one of the steepest falls that we've seen not due to injury as far as a running back is concerned? Because Eckler was up there. Like he was doing his thing just last year?
Is it steeper than Zeke Elliott?
But Zeke had a bit of an injury though that kind of caused it.
What injury?
Eckler isn't getting any run, and he wasn't hurt.
What injury?
Didn't he have a knee injury? And then
I don't recall Zeke missing a lot of football in his career. I'm pretty sure little things here and there, but I don't recall him missing a whole lot of football when he played. Think about it.
Because I thought he got injured the year before he left the Cowboys, and then the Cowboys didn't re-sign him, and he ended up with the Patriots. I could have swore he had I
thought he just lost his job. I mean, he didn't have any serious injuries is what I'm saying. I mean, Eckler has missed time in San Diego as well, but nothing, too crazy. But I mean, as far as the fall from grace, I think Zeke's is probably bigger than Eckler's fall. I don't know.
There aren't too many. That's what it boils down to.
Well, yeah, when you talk about, not due to injury, but, age as well. I mean, some people
Eckler is 2 years removed from being the number one fantasy running back?
Is it 2 years?
In PPR. I mean, and that's why in Dynasty, like running back is so tricky because they can go from being a stud to not being much at all in a year. Like it can get real deep real fast.
Absolutely.
Moving on to wide receiver. The most polarizing news this week, of course, Devontae Adams. He is unlikely to play week 5. He's played his last game as a Raider. They will not risk him getting hurt before he gets traded. So we'll kind of see how that goes. Make sure you listen to the Wednesday weekly, the Wednesday weekend wrap up. If you didn't watch that show or listen to that show, we kind of went in extensively talking about the options for Adams, but right now it seems like it's going to be the Jets or the Saints, which means it's going to be the Jets. They just have to figure out a way to do it. The asking price is pretty steep. I don't know that I would want to pay a second round price tag plus the money that he's going to have to get paid to get Adams if I did not know for sure that I was a team that was vying for the Super Bowl or to go deep into the playoffs. I'm going to just keep it a buck with you. I remember several of the last years that Adams was with Rodgers. They didn't get very far in the playoffs. So in the Jets defense isn't as great as what we thought it was going to be. So I really don't see the point of giving up a pretty significant pick for your future, a pretty significant amount of money, and not really adding any additional guarantees as far as a playoff run is concerned. But as far as fantasy is concerned,
I think that's a steep price, a second round pick.
Yeah, that's a steep price.
Nah, hell no.
Absolutely. For a 31-year-old wide receiver? Absolutely.
This is a wide receiver, though. I know people want to have this magic number in their mind. Oh, when you turn 30, then it's not like that for wide receivers. For running backs, yeah. But for wide receivers, no. You got guys that have prime years at this age. He's always been, he doesn't have an injury history.
But that's not the point, though. When he was with Rodgers before, they didn't go far.
It wasn't due to his play, though.
I didn't say it was.
Oh, okay.
But it ain't going to be due to his play that the Jets get any further either. The Jets are not a better team than Green Bay was. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, if I could spend a second.
You think the Jets are better than Green Bay was?
I don't know. I mean, that
actually goes to my point. If you
they probably are as good. The defense, especially. I mean, this defense is pretty good.
If you don't know, and the word we're using is probably, that means that they aren't a Super Bowl candidate. They have a 40-year-old quarterback and a 31-year-old.
What does that mean? What does that mean?
Paid out the wazoo. What are we
doing? I don't
want
to hear about 40-year-old quarterbacks when I've seen 40-year-old quarterbacks win Super Bowls. I don't want to hear about that.
You seen one 40-year-old quarterback.
And guess what? And this 40-year-old is in the same breath as that guy.
No,
both of those guys
are close. He's not
close.
Crazy.
You're crazy.
He's not close.
I know you don't. I know you don't like Aaron Rodgers, but I know you don't like Aaron Rodgers, but bro,
when he was 35, he wasn't doing nothing with Adams that put him close to a Super Bowl. But now they better all of a sudden. Come on now.
Again, I know you don't like the guy, but as far as his play, this dude is.
I'm talking about what actually happened on the field, not my feelings for the guy.
No, that's what it all stems from. Again, this dude is.
So they got far in the playoffs.
Again, this dude is arguably a top 5.
Did they get far in the playoffs
at his position? He's a top. This is an ultimate.
That's awesome. Where did they do in the playoffs?
Don't matter. Football is the ultimate.
Don't matter.
Football is the ultimate team sport, bro. So it ain't just all on one person.
I agree. And the Jets aren't a good team. That's my point.
The Jets. I think the Jets is not a bad team. Their defense is not.
They're one wide receiver away.
I think that would help. Their defense is pretty good. They don't have their whole defense right now. I think if they had Hassan Reddick playing,
they ain't gonna have him. If they get Adams, he's going in the trade.
Cool, but what I'm saying is they're not that bad of a team. They have
you don't go from not that bad to a Super Bowl.
Dude, it don't listen, you don't have to be a great team to win the Super Bowl. We seen the New York Giants dethrone your undefeated New England Patriots, and they was like 8-8 that season. You know what I'm saying? Maybe 9-7 that season. So you don't have to be a
Name
great
another team that did it.
You just
That's
have
the
to be
anomaly.
great.
That's the exception, not the rule.
Bro, this happens
I'm not
also.
giving
You
up
have
a
to
second round pick because the Giants did it. Like, no.
you have to play good football at the right time. That's all that matters. And I think the
I do
Jets
agree
can
with
do
that.
that. They have one. They have.
And we've never seen Adams and Rodgers play good football at the right time, except that one time when they had a top 5 defense, and the Jets defense isn't that right now.
I think they can be. I think they can be.
Now,
the defense.
With that being said, I think they're going to do it.
If you look at the team, the way it's constructed, they have probably a top 3 corner in the league. No
Agreed.
lower than 5.
Agreed.
They have probably a top 5 running back.
Agreed.
So I mean, they have probably a top 3 defensive tackle in the league at his position. And Quentin Williams, he's probably top 3 at defensive tackle at his position. His brother's a Pro Bowler, Quincy Williams.
You know what they don't have? You're giving me talent, but you know what they don't have? It's 2 things that they don't have: a good head coach or a good offensive coordinator. They ain't got neither one of them.
They head coach,
both of them in order to do
the OC is not the best for sure, but they have a quarterback.
The head coach is horrible. He's a great defense. He's as good of a head coach as Hackett was. He's a great defensive coordinator. He sucks at being a head coach. You're not going to win a Super Bowl or go deep into the playoffs without a good coach.
I think with Adams, this team could make some noise because you got to just win at the right time. It's up in the air right now. There's really no favorites in the AFC, bro. There's really no favorites. I know everybody want to say Kansas City with the 3-peat. I get that.
Kansas City took a blow, though. I don't know.
But now
I was saying Kansas City. Now
that Rice is maybe out for the season, we've seen Kelsey not be Kelsey of old. Like the AFC is up in the air. It's up in the air. I think anybody can win it.
I also see Kelsey trending back to what he was, because a lot of the routes that he was running, Rice picked up on. And now that Rice is out, I think Kelsey I would say Kelsey is a guy that I would go buy right now if I can. I don't know if the Kelsey owner would trade him just based on the fact that they just lost a pass catcher. But a lot of the routes in the middle of the field that Rice was catching and running after the fact, Kelsey's going to be getting a lot of those.
It don't get no easier for Kelsey. It don't get no easier. I mean, I just think the time has come, man. I think he's not the Kelsey of old anymore. You can't expect him to be that great for that long. Like, I think he's starting to descend. That's it.
Well, when you only got 2 pass catchers and one of them is a deep ball catcher, you're going to throw to the one guy you got. So until Hollywood get back or until they trade for somebody,
I think we'll see more Juju Smith-Schuster. Don't forget, he did have a good year when he was in Kansas City. I mean, you can shake your head, but look at the numbers. He had a good year in Kansas City when they won the Super Bowl that year. He had a good season. That's how he was able to get the money.
Was immediately let go.
No. He went to get a bag. That's why he was let go. It wasn't because they didn't want him anymore.
Nobody paid him. He waited around for the Patriots without a paycheck at all.
He did get paid.
He get a bag.
He got paid.
The Patriots paid him next to nothing.
No, that's not true.
He was sitting around without a job for it. No. I take that back. The Patriots did overpay him.
Please take it back.
My fault. The Patriots did overpay him. And we let go of Jacoby Myers. Well, actually, what we paid him was the same thing that Jacoby Myers got from the Raiders, but he didn't produce the way Jacoby Myers did. So, yeah, that is on point. I give you that. Tank Dell, limited, but he has returned to practice. Gabe Davis, limited in practice. Noah Brown dealing with a groin injury. Ricky Parcell, not returning to practice this week, but he's close. So we all know the story of Ricky Parcell got robbed and got shot in the chest. Bullet went through and through. He said he was ready to go back to practice that week. We haven't seen it on the field, but based on what happened in his life, this guy's built a little different. How does that work out for your other receivers? And I say your because everyone that listens to the show, that you're a 49ers fan. How does this work out for your receivers rest of season?
So as Purcell, I don't really think he's going to be much of a factor this season. I mean, as long as Debo stays healthy, Ayuk is there, and Jawan Jennings, where does he fit in? So I don't. I mean, him come back is good to get him acclimated, and he may get a few little plays here and there, but he's not fantasy relevant at all this season. So, I mean, that's all I got to say. I didn't see him being much of a fantasy guy even before he got shot. I mean, I just think that it's full right now. One of these guys won't be around soon, and then he'll come in and fill in the spot. It looked like Debo gonna be the guy that's going
I'm
out.
about to say,
Right? So he was
paid,
bought in.
Jennings isn't really getting paid. They just paid Ayuk and Debo. I want to say Debo only has, is it one more year in this contract?
Maybe one or two, but he's at a point where I think they can avoid getting hit with any kind of dead money and things of that nature. So, yeah.
They were looking to trade him this offseason, but they couldn't get what they wanted for him. So he's definitely on the block. Moving on over to tight end. Before we get into rapid fire 10, Trey McBride officially limited in Wednesday's practice. He was dealing with that concussion issue. It looks like he may be back this week. We'll find that out pretty soon here. Evan Ingram returned to practice on a limited basis. He was dealing with a hamstring injury. Hamstrings can be pretty tricky. He came up limp right before the game. He was good all throughout the week, and then during the warm-ups, something went left, and he wasn't able to go. This scares me more because of who it is than it does with a lot of other people. The injury that it is and the person that it is. Is this a guy that, based on what tight ends are looking like and knowing what the offense that he's in looks like, is he somebody that you might attempt to get on the low? Would you pay market value for him? Or is this a guy that, based on the current injury and its history, that you might want to leave alone?
Let me be honest with you, man. The way this year is going, you want to buy low on everybody. You don't buy high on no tight end is worth buying high on at this point. Everybody's like here, in years past, we've seen where the tight end is usually the tightest position in fantasy. There's usually Kelsey that's doing wide receiver numbers. You come down a tad bit, and then you used to have your Andrews, your Kittles of the world, and then it's like a bigger drop, and then everybody else is even. But now the way this league this year is going, everybody's even. There's no top tier guy at all. There's no one tight end standing out. Laporta's not doing it. Andrews is not doing it. Kelsey's not doing it. Goddard is, he had a big game this one pass, but he's like, there's not one guy that's just standing out. So with that being said,
I want to say Sam Laporta is let me see here. Sam Laporta, who was the darling, he's tight end 15. Overall, right. 197. Like,
where's Firemouth?
Where's who?
Firemouth.
Let's look at Pat. Pat is tight end number 5, but overall 128. So even the guys that are up there aren't really necessarily worth having.
So remember,
what put him up there was against Indy. He put up 16 points in the PPR. Before that, it was 7, 7, and 6. I want to say the number 1 tight end right now is Goddard, if I'm not mistaken. And even with Goddard, I want to say he's kind of back there as far as overall. Yeah, he's the number 1 ranked tight end right now, at least in PPR. I'm not exactly sure in standard,
but again, right?
Overall, number 60.
But
so
again,
even the number 1 tight end is way back there.
Right.
When considering this ain't the years of Kelsey, where he was a top 5 wide receiver when he was the number 1 tight end. So
when I was telling everybody about the 0 tight end, if you listen to shows of old, we say, hey, Pat Firemouth, that's one of the guys telling, this is a guy you probably get with your last pick. And now look, that last pick is higher than the 2nd round pick that somebody took Laporta in, right? There you go.
That's way higher.
Value, man.
Yeah, this is not a good. Well, and we're only a month in, but it doesn't feel like this is going to be a very good year for tight ends. You may have come out better getting talent somewhere else, getting a starter somewhere else, versus even grabbing a Laporta or Kelsey or whoever you may have grabbed kind of early. David Njoku, he's returning on a limited basis. He was dealing with the ankle injury. David Njoku might actually be in position to be a tight end worth having just because his team doesn't have any wide receivers. If he can stay healthy.
Who? Njoku?
David Njoku.
Why you say they don't have any wide receivers?
Because the only wide receiver they got is Cooper. Nobody else is very consistent. Definitely nobody else is a red zone target.
They don't have consistent quarterback play.
That too. Agreed.
And it's funny. It's funny that they say the Cleveland Browns was a team that was looking to add another receiver. I heard Adams. I heard DeAndre Hopkins reunion with Watson as well. So that's strange.
They may be looking to add, but if those two wide receivers got anything to say about it, it won't happen. But I would be interested to see if Watson and Hopkins could possibly rekindle something along the same lines as what Adams and Rodgers would do, because Hopkins was a stud. I mean, that same chemistry that we speak of as far as Rodgers and Adams is concerned, we can say the same thing. The last time Watkins was a stud is when he had Hopkins. Now, and both of them feel like they've kind of taken a step back, but maybe being together, that synergy can kind of come forth. And if you got Hopkins on the other side of Cooper, that definitely helps as well. And that might actually even help Njoku, because you can't focus on him as being the number 2 target catcher. Target getter. So that's kind of where we are with that. It's just a horrible year for tight ends. George Kittle sitting out on Wednesday. He's dealing with a rib injury. And lastly, TJ Hawkinson, his practice window opened on Friday. So now the team has basically about 21 days, if I'm not mistaken, to decide what direction they're going to go. He dealt with that ACL, MCL tear injury sustained on December 24th of last season. And you got a quarterback in Sam Darnold that's already doing well with the weapons that he currently has. And the easiest guy to throw the ball to is on his way back. TJ Hawkinson can mess around, come in next week, and end up being the tight end one by the time the season is over, because he don't have very much ground to have to play catch up with. So, who knows? Is that a guy that you might try to get on the low if you could, or the person that drafted him is hearing the news and is too close to seeing the product to move on before you know what you got?
Right. I think if you're an avid listener, we told you to act on this weeks ago, right? Even in your draft, we told you this was a good guy to buy and just throw on your IR spot, because now the time is here, right? And he has only gotten more expensive as he got closer to his release date. You know what I'm saying? So now that he's close to getting on the field, he's going to be a lot more expensive than he was 3 or 4 weeks ago. And especially now, like you were saying, the way the tight end position is playing, that's even more of a reason for the Hawkinson owner to probably want to hold him. So
true.
I'm a person, I have Hawkinson in my IR spot, and I'm also a Sam Laporta owner. So I'm probably going to shop Sam Laporta because I think he's more valuable. Even though I think
Laporta be better off playing the weekly best matchup game, because even Sam, based on where tight ends are and based on where he is, I don't know if you can get what you would be looking for in return.
I think I can get something decent. Because I think if you watched him last week, he'd look a lot better. I think he's getting himself back to, I don't know if he was a little banged up, not in shape or whatever, but the last game it showed that he was looking kind of like Laporta of old. So I think in the next coming weeks, we're going to see him kind of like get back to his old self. The first couple weeks he didn't look so tough, but this past week he actually looked pretty decent. So I think he's getting back in the groove of things. So I think he's going to do better as the season go on. But for someone in my position where I have him, Hawkinson only could play one, so I'll shop the more valuable one and then just roll the dice on the.
So would you wait a couple of weeks for Laporta to get back to normal so you can sell them based on that? Or would you be looking to move them now? And if you were looking to move them now, what would you even like? What would you think is fair? Like,
I would say 2 at what position? So I would think wide receiver 2 would be fair. I would think maybe running back 2 would be fair. I would think mid-tier quarterback to lower. I think that'd be fair. I just think not maybe high level QB1, wide receiver 1, RB1, but I think the 2s would be a fair deal. Maybe I can throw a small piece in there, but I think that's fair.
Okay. And that pretty much wraps up the news and notes. Let's go ahead and head on over to Rapid Fire 10.
All right, man. Rapid Fire 10. Rapid Fire 10. We got 10 quick questions. Who do I start? We need 10 quick answers. Let's get right into it, man. We got David Carr, Sam Darnold.
I'm going to stay in the flames with Sam Darnold.
He has the Jets, by the way.
Yeah, the Jets, their defense is good, but they aren't scary. So I don't – even if Sauce locks up Jefferson, Addison going to be open. And Addison showed you what he can do. And they got the boy Naylor out there who
that's pretty good.
Every couple of weeks he's doing his thing. So if you know it's Sauce on Jefferson and he follows him around, they got other guys to catch the ball. And Aaron Jones catching the ball out the backfield. So give me Sam.
All right, we got Bo Nix or Tyler Huntley.
Give me Bo Nix. I wasn't impressed with Huntley at all, and he can't say he don't have the talent. When he was in Baltimore, they really didn't have any receivers. You got receivers in Miami. You just look bad, and you're going up against the Patriots defense. I'm not doing that.
We got Rashad White or Jerome Ford.
Give me Ford. With Chubb nipping at his heels on his way back, Ford better go out there and show out, or he about to lose his job.
All right, again, now this time we got Rashad White or Bucky Irvin.
Okay. I honestly believe the team is about to start going in the direction of Bucky Irvin. Rashad White is he's a great third down back. Bucky Irvin is the better runner. So, and the coach even said as much that Bucky has done everything to earn more time and nothing to get less.
Again, Ben, if you were listening, man, I told you this weeks ago. So it's not like let me go get Bucky now. You could have Bucky weeks ago, but nothing. If you would just listen to the guys, man. We got Kareem Hunt or Tank Dell.
Give me Kareem Hunt. He's going to be the guy at running back, and they don't have a whole bunch of passing options, and he can catch out of the backfield. Give me the guy that I know is going to get work. Tank Dell, he can make his week with one catch, and that's what he better do because he ain't gonna get very many opportunities with Diggs and Collins out there. And I believe Mixon will be back this week, which is another person that's going to be taking on some of those targets. And Schultz is out there taking targets as well. So, give me the guy that I know is going to get to work.
All right, we got Wandale Robinson or Jawan Jennings.
Give me Wandale. Give me Steady Eddie. Give me the guy that I know is going to get probably about 10 targets. He's going to catch about 8 of them. Even if he does nothing with them, he's going to get you double digits. Jennings may go out there and not get much of anything at all, not because he isn't good, but because there's so many different options out there.
We got Jalen Waddle or the Carolina kid, Xavier Legette.
Xavier Legette. And it's not because of Waddle. I don't think his quarterback going to be able to get him the ball.
All right, we got Trey Tucker or Rome Aduze.
Tucker. Tucker is a poor man's Tank Dell without any of the competition. He's the guy that's going to be able to get downfield. Myers isn't going to be taking away those targets because he really don't go downfield. So we already know that Adams is going to be out. Tucker's going to be the number 2 wide receiver there. Now, whether Minshew is going to be bold enough to throw the ball downfield then becomes the question. But Tucker is definitely going to put you in a better situation based on the number of targets that he should get.
All right, we got Jawan Johnson or Dalton Schultz.
Give me Schultz because, well, let me give a caveat. If Taysom Hill plays, give me Schultz. If Taysom Hill doesn't play, give me Johnson.
Okay, and last but not least, a defensive question. We got the Minnesota Vikings, who has the Jets, or the Dallas Cowboys, who I believe has the Steelers.
I'm gonna go with Minnesota. I'm gonna stay in the Flames. The Jets' offense has not looked very good against lesser defenses. So yeah, I mean,
It's funny, like Minnesota's playing good defense, but they give up some of the most fantasy points to the wide receiver, if that makes sense. So this is the easiest matchup that Garrett Wilson has seen thus far this year. He's had some tough ones. His last 3 weeks, he's been playing against arguably 3 of the top 5 corners we got in this league. But he plays another decent corner with Gilmore. So Gilmore is in Minnesota. He's not a guy that probably going to travel. He might, but he still he's a decent corner. So we'll see about that as well.
I just don't feel the chemistry between Wilson and Rodgers. They're not on the same page yet. Which is why he's screaming for Adams. If it was just you'll do better when you got different corners up against you, he wouldn't be screaming for Adams right now. So I don't know. I just kind of feel like Rodgers has always been one of those quarterbacks that you can have talent. The same dudes that Jordan Love is throwing the ball to and succeeding with, Aaron Rodgers was poo-pooing those same guys, saying that they ain't worth it. So he likes the guys that he already knows, which is why he wants Adams. And we obviously know that Wilson has the talent, but he just don't have the relationship and the chemistry. And Aaron Rodgers don't like building the relationship. He want a built-in relationship. So he ain't like dealing with Rodgers he ain't like dealing with Adams when Adams first got to Green Bay. It took for Jennings and for what's my guy?
But maybe because he was young. So I think Devontae first 2 years were kind of, you know what I'm saying? But then on, like,
what's my boy that was the number 1 wide receiver in Green Bay when Adams first got there?
I think Jordy been gone by then.
Jordy Nelson. It was Jordy Nelson, Jennings, and then they had Buddy at tight end that ended up getting hurt. He was in, but he didn't like Adams when he first started. He treated Adams the same way he treated the guys that he just left from Green Bay.
Well, he don't like
new stuff.
He don't like rookies and young guys. So I mean, I get it. He's not the first. I mean, a lot of coaches don't like him. That's just the way it is. I mean, he's a perfectionist, right? So, and that's the thing about perfectionists. I mean, he want it done right. He don't want to do a whole bunch of explaining and what you didn't see, why it didn't happen. He want it done right. So the guy that doesn't know anything, I don't want him on the field playing. I want guys that know what's going on. And he trusts that more than so it's not like a knock. It's just like, look, I'm going to go with the guys I know what they're doing. Go over there and learn, man. Once you learn, then you can come in and then maybe we can conversate. But until you go learn something, we ain't got much to talk about. I ain't mad.
I wouldn't put Wilson in that category.
Well, Wilson in that category only because of they don't have time together. So it's not that he don't have the talent or he's uber young, even though he's like in his third year or something like that. But it's just that they don't have much reps. You know what I mean? So he's like a rookie.
Well, maybe he should have been at the Jets camp instead of gallivanting wherever he was doing his drugs in the offseason, where you were telling me that that's what veterans do instead of building chemistry with wide receivers.
We call that earn the right.
How you earn it with a team that you ain't played with before? You earned it in Green Bay.
He earned the right. Don't matter.
That's why you're dealing with what you're dealing with now.
Don't matter.
Okay.
He didn't put in the work.
Okay.
He didn't put in the work. So he didn't earn the right. It's not about Well, I didn't do over here. You didn't see what I did.
Okay.
So I get certain days off. I get certain perks. I got the sweet parking spot.
Your perks are worth more than you than building chemistry with your wide receivers that you're now going to complain
Hey,
about. Then it is what it is.
There's nothing this man can do to hurt his legacy at this point. He's already set in
Not
stone.
about legacy. No, I agree with you.
It's
on
all
that.
about legacy. He's set in stone.
No. What I meant by that is what he chose to do or not do this off season. That I agree with you. Doesn't build or hurt his legacy. What I'm saying is, if he was truly about winning, and he knows that he don't want to throw the ball to a wide receiver that he don't have that chemistry with, then you might have wanted to focus on that versus.
Man, I got things to do, man. I got things to do.
Oh, okay, well, don't complain
My
about
off season is mine, man. I ain't got time.
It is what it is.
I ain't got to be trying to play catch with no grown man.
Be mediocre. It is what it is.
I ain't got time to be playing catch with no grown man. I'm almost 50, man.
Be mediocre.
I'm almost 50 years old, man. I ain't got time to be playing with you, boy.
Exactly.
Just be here and be ready to go. That's all.
You've resigned yourself to being
ready. Just be ready to go when it's time to go. Just be ready to go. That's it.
All right, y'all. Let's hop into waiver wire fire. I'm going to give Vander a few guys from each position. He's going to rank them, and then he's going to let us know whether or not it is worth having them. First up, wide receiver. Dontavian Wicks, Wan'Dale Robinson, Romeo Doubs, Keon Coleman. Rank them and tell me who's worth having.
I'm gonna go Wicks 1, Wan'Dale 2, okay. Dobbs 3, and Coleman 4.
Okay.
And of course, Wicks is 1. Man, if you listen to this, if you've been listening, I told you this is the guy to own. When everybody was telling you Romeo, Jaden Reed is good because he's kind of like a little poor man's Debo. I get that part, but I've been telling you, Watson. People saying Christian Watson. Listen, I've been telling y'all, and I told you he was going to be free. I say not only he the one to own, but he's the one that's going for free. So now we're here. Watson's hurt again. He's hurt again. And now Wicks is back, and now he's getting more snaps, running more routes. Because last year he had a good year, but he wasn't able to do the numbers people maybe expected because of the lack of volume. It wasn't because he just wasn't good. It's because he's playing a small percentage of snaps. His snaps has went up, and you've seen the production. Just caught 2 touchdowns. You should have been had this dude. I told you. You know what I'm saying? So I like him 1. Wander has been consistent, a consistent target guy over there. Now that I think Neighbors may sit maybe 1 week. Romeo, of course, the quarterback as well. He's a good talent. I'm gonna put Coleman last because Coleman is kind of like a one-trick pony. And the only consistent play I've seen these guys have is the back shoulder throw. Again, we talk about Coleman in the offseason. He's more of a 50-50 guy, not a crazy route runner. Don't really separate that well. But he can catch the ball in a phone booth, right? So if I put him and you in a closet and I throw the ball in the closet, he's going to come out with the ball. But he's not going to separate from the cornerback and, that kind of nature. But so I'm going to put him 4th on that list.
Let's move on over to quarterbacks. Justin Fields, and obviously this is probably looking at it from a single QB type league.
Okay.
But I mean, in some cases, depending on the league size, Superflex or 2 QB, these guys may be available as well. But Justin Fields, Bo Nix, Daniel Jones, Andy Dalton, rank them, and who's worth having?
I'm gonna say Fields, Dalton, Jones, the Knicks.
So you like Jones over Bo?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Bo he's learning. He's learning on the job, and it don't look good. They don't have any consistent running back play, no consistent wide receiver play, and he's just learning as he go. I mean, certain jobs you can learn on a job, hands-on. If you work in a assembly line and different things you can learn. But if I throw you in the surgery room and say, "Hey, do a heart transplant," right? It's like, shit. Okay, cut. Wait, that's what Bo Nix is going through right now, right? So this isn't the job to learn on the job. Sean Payton, there you go. But I think Fields only because of his rushing acumen. So he's not throwing the ball extremely well. He hasn't unlocked George Pickens at all. But he just had 55 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns. You know what that is, ladies and gentlemen? That's like 17 points, right? 18 points off your legs. You know what I'm saying? So alone. So he could not have completed a pass and he still had 17 fantasy points off his legs alone. So for that reason, I got to have Fields first. We've seen Andy Dalton. He's getting the ball out quicker. He has unlocked Deontay Johnson, right? Yeah. Deontay Johnson has come back to life. We've seen Xavier Leggett score his first touchdown last week due to the injury of Adam Thielen. So I'm going to have him second. Jones, he's athletic. You know what you're going to get. He has one of the better receivers this year, Neighbors. So he's third. But one to own will be Fields and Dalton, I would say. 1-2.
Running back. Kareem Hunt. Rico Dowdle. Tank Bigsby. Tyler Algier.
So you said the second one was who? Rico Dowdle?
Rico Dowdle, the running back for the Dallas Cowboys.
I'm gonna go Kareem first, Rico second, Algier third, and then Bigsby fourth. And the thing about Algier and Bigsby, an injury has to happen. Now, if an injury happens, this thing it goes. That guy who's now third or fourth goes straight to the top. So yes, they're getting a little more involved, but still not involved enough. An injury would have to happen here for these guys to really be involved. Algier get love, but Bijan is still getting majority of the work over there. Travis Etienne still getting majority of the work. In Jacksonville, Dotto, you have seen his work go up gradually over the weeks. And they kind of phasing Ezekiel Elliott out. So that's why I have him at 2. And then Kareem Hunt, who I think is the lone wolf right now in Kansas City.
Would it surprise you to know that currently Bijan Robinson is RB number 20? He had 11 carries this past week. Algier had 10.
But how many catches did Bijan have? Like 6, right? 5
I'm not exactly sure how many catches he had.
I want to see he had like 17 touches or something like that. And Tyler Algier had, again, he's in the way though.
Let me look at the targets. I can look at the targets right quick for Bijan. Bijan had 4 targets.
Okay.
I don't think Algier had any. So there were 15 opportunities for Bijan and 10 for Algier.
That's why I have him third.
That's pretty doggone close.
It is.
Like I think going through 2 different head coaches, 2 different offensive coordinators, and looking at essentially the same type of conclusion that the staffs have come to, maybe it's time that we just accept that Bijan, regardless of how high the hopes were for him, he's just not going to produce in fantasy as high as the hopes that we had. I mean, people were saying he was the next CMC. CMC could come back this week and still literally run him under the table in fantasy points for the year.
Right.
Like he's not that guy. I hate to be the one to say it, but numbers are numbers. We all have opinions, but numbers don't lie. And
if you look at week 4, Dotto had 12 rushing attempts, right? So with 12, the volume, he had 12. Zeke had 6. So it's a bigger gap there. And Bigsby had 7. So it's right along with what I'm saying. And Hunt had 17. There you go. So it's Hunt, Dottle, Allergy. So it's right in the order I'm saying if you look at weeks 4 production. Again, I think if an injury happens to the guy at 3 or 4, it doesn't matter if Zeke get hurt. If ETN get hurt or Bijan get hurt, you can have you a low end RB1. To be honest with you.
Facts. No,
you know
and I mean, yeah, I completely agree with you on that.
And that's one thing about fantasy. Some of these handcuffs can go from nobody to the big man on the block.
And depending on the position, there's certain positions that are likely to, at some point in time, incur an injury that's going to nick them up for minimally a week or 2, or possibly for several weeks. So that's why we tend to have high-end handcuffs, even if it's not necessarily your own, because the hope is your guy don't go down. It's somebody else's guy. Get the other guy's handcuffs that now have to come see you, or a mixture of both situations. Lastly, tight end. Again, we already talked about tight end being just crazy this year, but 3 tight ends I'm looking at for waiver wire fire: Isaiah Likely, Zach Ertz, Noah Fant. Rank them, and who's worth having?
Well, how I have them currently ranked would probably be Ertz, Likely, and then Font.
Okay.
But I think Likely is worth owning because, again, Andrews is no stranger to injury.
True.
And the right injury, he can go from where he's at now to a top 3 tight end in the league right now. That's just how big the gap is. Like, we talk about handcuff running backs all the time. I even told you certain guys every now and then be handcuff quarterbacks. This is one of those handcuff tight end positions. To be honest with you, it's probably the only one in the league. He's probably the only handcuff tight end in the league. Now, there's good tight ends. I'm not saying they're not good backup tight ends.
No,
but,
I feel you.
But as far as like a handcuff that can go from the floor to the ceiling, he's probably the only one that's backing up somebody. Absolutely.
I can't really think of any other situation that it's like Baltimore's.
Right.
You're spot on with that one.
So for that reason, he's worth owning. But as far as just the week-to-week targets, production, I'm gonna go Ertz. The offense seems to be getting better. He's getting his little 5-6 targets a game, getting his little 4 catches. You know what I'm saying? It's not much. Tight end haven't been giving us much this year. But for what Ertz been doing, he's been kind of like cruising along with everybody else. Likely had the real big boom game and then disappeared. Right? He went from boom to disappearing.
Matter of fact, I want to say because of that one game, let me look it up right
now. That one game, he probably still ranked pretty high.
I think Likely may be ranked in the top. Let me just look.
But look at his last.
He's number 6.
Okay, but look at his last 2 weeks.
Right. But what I'm saying is, with what he's done over the last 2 weeks, having one good game still has him a decent game away from being top 5.
Right.
That further goes to your original point that you were saying all off season. This year is the year to punt the position and just get what you can get on the back end. Last segment of the show. What would you do? I have one guy from each position. I want to know what it is you would do with this guy. First up, quarterback, Aaron Rodgers. Are you keeping him and holding out hope that he gets Adams, which it seems kind of likely that it's going to happen? Do you think that, and he's quarterback 18 right now, do you think that pushes him far enough forward that he's worth either grabbing right now if you don't have him, holding on to him if you do have him, trading for him? What do you do with Aaron Rodgers?
I think if you own Rodgers, you hold him.
Okay.
You can't trade him because you're not going to get much for him.
Do you think you can sell someone on the Adams news that like tomorrow's price won't be today's price? You better get him now, because if you get Adam, we both know what he's going to do. So get him now, because it's going to cost you a whole lot more tomorrow. Like,
you can sell the
even
news.
entertain that type of a conversation.
Absolutely, you can sell the news. That's why I say if you own him, you hold him. Right, so you holding him.
So you would hold him until Adams gets there.
Yeah, absolutely, because he's not value. He's not. His value is. Listen, you only as valuable as the one who wants you, right? So it don't matter what you say about this piece. If nobody want to buy it, it's not really worth anything. It could be, and it can be worth something, but you don't have any buyers, it ain't worth nothing. I think he's kind of sit at that spot right now where he's older. The offense hasn't been very fluid. But with the addition of a Devonta, it's hot news. People buy in the moment. People like to buy, and they hear the news, and you sell the news, and people will buy the news. So if you're the Rodgers owner, you hold them and you wait to see if the news comes. If the news never comes, you just hold them, because you're not going to get. It's your grandmother's car she left you, and her will. She left you a 1971 Chevy Impala, and the sentimentality value is. Somebody be like, man, you don't want to look at the blue book value, because they're going to tell you it's worth $400, right? But this is a classic. You know the value of it, but you're not going to get the value what the book said it is. And that's, I think, kind of what Rodgers is. He's more valuable than what the blue book said he's worth.
I feel you on that. Wide receiver number 26, Tyreek Hill.
Sheesh. Hey, listen. And I told the guy who's in our league, when this injury happened, I was like, yo, that he gonna take a hit. Like, I think you have to. I would sell Tyreek, but I'm gonna give you the devil advocate. I would buy Tyreek if I have a lower guy. So I think if you're in the dumps, if you have and it would have to be somebody that's in a situation that's maybe not producing as well. I may sell like a Stephon Diggs or something like that for him.
Really?
Absolutely.
Because
Tyreek is one of those guys. He don't have to have it. They don't have to be all the way the right way. If he catch the ball, he can take it. Huntley missed him on like a 60-yard touchdown this past week.
You're aware that Diggs is the number 9 receiver.
I know.
So you think that Tyreek, with his current set of quarterbacks, can supersede wide receiver 9?
I think that on any given Sunday, Tyreek can give you 20 and a quarter.
With a decent quarterback.
I think with any quarterback, because if you look at the game he had with Skylar Thompson last year, I think week 17, 16, something like that, 15, that area, he had a good game with him. So it doesn't take much. He just got to get it. He hasn't gotten it. So even if Huntley can just get in his hands, he can do it from there. Like I say, he missed him on like a 60-something yard ball last week.
He
wide
missed
open
2 or 3 times. Yeah.
But that comes with reps and learning speed. They haven't played with each other. I think, but if he caught that ball, that's 12, 13 points, depending on league you in one play. That's what Tyreek brings to the field. Like, he doesn't have to catch 8 or 10 balls. He can get 1 or 2 and boom. So I just think that for that reason, it's certain guys like that I would be fine with buying the name over the production right now, because it's still a long season. And they're saying Tua may come back in week 8. Now, he may get knocked back out, but if you can weather this storm and Tua does come back in week 8, look what you got yourself. The fantasy playoffs don't start until what? Week 14. So, ta-da. So, if I was you, I would go buy Tyreek right now with a guy that's who's you have the rankings in front of you. Who's ranked like 15? Who's in that area?
Let's see.
15, 16 in the area.
I want to say 1 second. One, two, three, four, five, 6, 7.
Hell, I said I did it in the league. I did it in the gospel. If y'all listen,
That's actually Marvin Harrison Jr.
Okay, but if you where's DJ Moore?
DJ Moore. I think he's around like wide receiver 25 or something like that.
Sweet. So in the gospel fantasy league, I traded DJ Moore to get Tyreek Hill. So there you go. So I'm not just don't just think I'm up here just talking and I'm saying things I wouldn't do. I've done it. So
DJ Moore is right behind. Actually, he's right behind Garrett Wilson.
So there you go. So the proof, I traded him I got Tyreek for him. So yeah, the Tyreek owner may be thinking, see, I think I'm good enough to stay around when it's time to win the real games. That Tyreek owner maybe need games right now. So yeah, absolutely. Here you go. Because on the back end, it's gonna look crazy. It's gonna look crazy. So yeah, there you go. DJ Moore, yeah, do that.
Next man up, running back number 26.
Okay.
Travis Etienne.
Mm-hmm.
What are we doing?
Again, I'm gonna take it back to what I said about Rodgers. The value, the blue book value, and what you think he's worth is gonna be different. Because if you're selling what he did last year, which is like he's like third, right?
2 or 3.
I think he's like third. So, but that offense is in shambles. The coach seemed like he may have lost the locker room at this point. We don't know if he's going to make it at the end of the season. Bigsby is not really coming on, but he is coming. He went from getting 1 or 2 carries, and now he's getting 7 carries. You see what I'm saying? So it's creeping up. And again, Etienne is no stranger to injury himself.
Yeah.
So I think you kind of be forced to hold. But if somebody would buy the name, I would sell the name. If you could sell the name, I definitely would sell the name for someone with not a sexier name, but they're putting in the work. Aaron Jones, for instance, Etienne name is sexier than Aaron Jones. Now, somebody not gonna do that head up with you, but
and Aaron Jones, I believe, right now is RB10, if I'm not mistaken.
So in a situation like that, so the name you might could sell the sexier name for the guy, and people not really paying attention to the production versus the guy. So I'm okay with doing that. But other than that, you may be forced again to hold on to this guy because the values is not equaling up.
Lastly, tight end number 39.
Shit, there's 32 teams in the league.
Mark Andrews. What are we doing?
Like Wendy Williams used to say on her show, leave that where back there. Like, hey man.
The thing about it is, right now with the landscape of tight end, one good week could really put him in the top 10. But neither Likely or Andrews are getting targets. Is the more concerning piece of it. They both only got 1 target this past week. No, I think Likely got 2 targets, and Andrews got 1 target, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, if you can sell them, you can sell them. And if not, take that nice car, put it in the garage. So I wouldn't. And what I mean by that is, don't start them. You got the kid at Green Bay now.
Kraft.
Now that Love is back, I'll start Kraft in front of Andrews, bro. I will start Kraft in front of Andrews.
Would you trade Andrews for Kraft?
No. So you see what I'm saying? Take that nice car and just put it in the garage. So I wouldn't want to trade him for him, but I would start him in front of him. That makes sense. I know it may sound like I'm talking out both sides, but I'm gonna take this nice car and just park it. I'm not going to drive it at all, and I'll just drive this other car I got. But I'm not going to, you know, I'm not going to trade my old Benz for your new Pinto or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I'm going to keep my car. It's still a Benz at the end of the day. I know it ain't, you know what I'm saying? So I think that with Andrews is where it's at. Like, I just think he's at the point where he's not even startable, to be honest with you. I mean, just because it's just so much uncertainty in the offense. I mean, he's starting and still not getting the target.
Yeah.
There's 32 teams in leagues, eh? And he's 39. Come on, man.
Good point.
Oh, I got a good one. What you could do, trade him to the Evan Ingram owner. Try it out. See, because buy the injured guy, the Hawkinson owner. Trade him to the Hawkinson owner. Trade him to the Ingram owner. You probably can trade Andrews to the hurt guy because he's already had that guy has a tight end in place already that he's been playing the whole season. So he looking at Andrews as this is Mark Andrews. It's like I said, it's still a nice car. So you make and sell. So now you're thinking about the future. You think about down the road. So I think I would rather have Evan Ingram moving forward over Andrews, if that makes sense. So, but he's hurt. So trade for the hurt guy. That's what I would do.
And that wraps it up for today. Make sure you guys tune into tomorrow's show, the Gospel Sports Truth Podcast, and check us out on YouTube at the Gospel STP. Join the Facebook group, the Gospel Sports Truth Facebook group. For this evening, we out. And remember, tell the truth.